Yeah, Larry, Nancy, good evening. We knew we were at the right road in Montgomery County when we saw this ahead of us, just a line of flames. Hey, Sean, good evening. Savannah Maddox just wrapping up her campaign kickoff speech a couple minutes ago, joining an already crowded Republican primary field. Hey, Larry, Nancy, you're going to have to bear with us because we just got a huge gust of wind. You can probably see it coming to us because the debris is kind of whipping all around us. See, that's the smoke from the fire. We just saw a ton of people who are out here watching this all unfold this afternoon just scatter. We heard a loud noise. We're not sure if the wind knocked a part of this building that's already in a precarious state down, but you can see the debris coming down. But if this is a two-track strategy, which Democrats have indicated it is, and the first part collapses, those talks break apart, can you still get a vote on the second part, the $3.5 trillion deal?
Yes. Yeah, that's putting it mildly, Larry. The power at our hotel, the Hampton Inn, went out just about an hour and a half ago. Fortunately, the good people at the Hampton Inn allowed us to film this live shot here. This is certainly a hotel stay we will not forget for some time. About 144,000 customers across the Commonwealth are out of power right now.
Warrior did make some news in our interview before, albeit probably not surprising to people that are paying attention. I asked him, should this not pan out and you lose, who would you prefer to see the Democratic nominee be to take on Mitch McConnell? He said that person should be someone with a progressive vision for Kentucky. So I asked, is that Charles Booker? And he said yes.
88 deaths have been confirmed as a result of the tornadoes that swept through the entire region over the weekend, more than 70 of them in Kentucky. The governor has said that death toll will most likely rise.
While the governor and Dr. Stack were eager to share data and recommendations from the White House, remember, it's the White House that recommends that indoor dining capacity be limited to 25%. Right now, that capacity in Kentucky is 50%. People are wondering what else they can do to honor Breonna Taylor on what would have been her 27th birthday, aside from just attending a protest or posting something on social media. They told me they want people to call elected officials and urge them to fire the 3 officers involved in her case and charge them immediately.
If you have a hard time hearing me, that's because protesters just started marching again. The crowd has thinned out considerably since the protest started at around 8, but I gotta say, there's at least 150 or so people still hanging strong 3 hours later. They just stopped in Triangle Park for somewhat of an open forum where they allowed anyone who wanted to air their grievances or tell a personal story have the microphone and address the crowd.
Again, the pipeline coming back online has no direct impact on Kentucky, but it will probably help to ease people's concerns about gas shortages. Those fears led to a real shortage here at the BP gas station in Lancaster.
Definitely don't do that. Instead, police say give them a call if you've been hit or you've seen who might be responsible.
There may not be a whole lot to look at right now, but who knows? This patch of dirt may end up being where people line up to get that famous pub sub. What is a pub sub and what makes it so special? Honestly, I had no idea, so I had to ask around. The Illuminations exhibit has several interactive elements to help illustrate the relationship we have with light. Because after all, like a reporter, light tells stories.
In the archives at LEX 18 are memories of Anita Franklin, a Lexington mom turned community activist.
People ask me, when am I going to stop doing this? And my answer remains the same: when the crime stops. We realize that we got to do something. We got to do something. One murder is one too many, and we've had 10.
We first met Anita during her darkest moments, after her 21-year-old son Antonio was shot and killed in a park in 2014. Police said he was hit by random gunfire.
Tony is gone. He's in heaven right now, so we just want to make sure that no one has to feel the way I feel.
Even through her grief, she found it within herself to show grace to her son's killers.
After today and watching him, I do forgive Damian, and I want him to do better.
And she wanted our elected officials to do better. Her grief morphed into activism. She joined Moms Demand Action in her push to end gun violence.
You have messed with the wrong mom this time.
Last summer, Anita delivered a petition to Senator Mitch McConnell's office calling for common sense gun reform. And before she garnered national attention, she was one of the most recognizable figures in Lexington, organizing an annual March for Peace in the very park where her son was killed.
We want them to know they need to live in peace, so they don't have to say rest in peace.
She was passionate. She spoke from the heart, and I think that's why she was so effective, because she gave the survivors, the victims, a voice.
What I'm trying to do is encourage other people to talk about what's happened to them, to take back their streets, take back their community.
Her fight may have been cut short, but her message will almost certainly live on. In Lexington, Mike Valente, LEX 18 News.
Snowmageddon, snowpocalypse, whatever you want to call it, the people who lived through it are relieved the worst of it is behind them.
I'm glad to be home and safe and warm.
It's time consuming. I mean, it was a real mess.
I would have to say at that point, I was kind of freaking out a little bit.
It's an adventure I don't want to take on again.
An adventure that did not feature much movement. Former state auditor Adam Edlin was coming home to Lexington from West Virginia. What ended up being a more than 17-hour journey.
Got home in my own bed about 6 a.m. this morning after 9 hours of not moving an inch on I-64 there in Mount Sterling.
Jessica Ness only started moving shortly after this interview last night.
Now it makes me want to go home and pack a winter safety kit, just in case something like this happens again.
What usually should be a 30-minute commute for Ness from Mount Sterling to Winchester ended up taking her 10 hours. She was awake enough to have a quick meal when she got home.
Oh, I just wanted something warm, so something warm and quick. I heated up some beans.
The traffic troubles trapped LEX 18 employees, too.
I would say I got to about maybe mile marker 105, 106. And then all of a sudden you saw brake lights.
LEX 18 Director Stephen Bentley left Montgomery County to head for work in the late morning. Still on the road at 4:45 p.m., he was wishing he packed more than just a bottle of water.
A gentleman that was next to me ended up passing out a couple of drinks.
And we know it's not just the interstates that were causing problems all day yesterday. This is Thatcher's Mill in Bourbon County, a country road, pretty narrow. A lot of traffic from the interstate was diverted here. Tractor trailers stuck overnight.
We had multiple semis slid off the road and probably half dozen box trucks, all commercial vehicles.
In Mount Sterling, some traffic was diverted to Highway 60. That, you guessed it, was also transformed into a parking lot.
There was tractor trailers as far as you could see.
Chief John May and his crew with the Wolfe County Search and Rescue Team did wellness checks on stranded drivers.
And just saying, are you guys okay? You need food or water? And then explain the situation about how long they may be stuck in that particular location.
Understandably, most of the drivers were restless.
Aggravated would be the best term.
Aggravation that may not fade anytime soon. Mike Valente, LEX 18 News.
All eyes are on Washington, D.C. in the wake of a massive breach of the nation's capital, the first since the War of 1812. Even those covering the worst atrocities abroad were struck by the violence.
My name is Mohammed Hassan. I am a freelance journalist based in Kameshli in north and eastern Syria.
Mohammed Hassan is a Kurdish journalist who lives on the border of Turkey and Syria. For years, he's covered the battles against the Islamic State, and he's still reporting on clashes between Bashar al-Assad's forces and Kurdish rebels. We've messaged back and forth on Twitter before, but this was the first time we've actually spoken out loud.
Would you mind showing me where you are, the view from where you are, outside a window?
Here, you can see it's black because no electricity. I switch on my generator.
Yesterday, while we were scrambling to cover what was happening, I got a message from Hassan.
I messaged you to ask you about the situation there because I was watching TV. It's incredible.
He described what he saw as tragic, unthinkable in a place he considers the source for democracy across the world.
It's not good for USA because America, they have values. They must keep these values for all the world. all the world, they are looking at America.
When you see images like this, what's happening in D.C., what does that do to the reputation of the United States?
I think it will destroy the reputation of United States of America if it will be continued.
But Hassan believes that reputation can be salvaged.
I think the American people, they are not foolish people. They have a lot of chance to the democracy there. So I think as soon as they will have ability to find a solution.
And thousands of miles away, in a country beleaguered by violence for years, Hassan says it's vital that Americans find that solution. In Lexington, Mike Valente, LEX 18 News.